Good morning, live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Trump says Israel agrees to an initial withdrawal line for Gaza. Netanyahu hopeful for a hostage deal within the next few days. US envoys head to West Asia to finalize hostage release details. Anti-ICE protest in Chicago, Illinois, Portland, Oregon. Tensions in Chicago as federal agents shoot woman after convoy rams officers. While in Portland, judge temporarily blocks use of National Guard. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer to make first official visit to India coming week to meet Prime Minister Modi on October 9th in Mumbai. India-UK comprehensive strategic partnership in line with Vision 2035 in focus. And in Women's Cricket World Cup, India aims to continue their unbeaten run as they face Pakistan in a high-voltage clash in Colombo. US President Donald Trump has said that Israel agreed to an initial withdrawal line for Gaza, which has also been shared with Hamas. In a social media post on Saturday, Trump said, and I quote, "After negotiations, Israel has agreed to the initial withdrawal line, which we have shown to and shared with Hamas. When Hamas confirms the ceasefire will be immediately effective, the hostages and prisoner exchange will begin, and we will create the conditions for the next phase of withdrawal, which will bring us close to the end of this 3,000-year catastrophe." He says, "Thank you for your attention to this matter." Earlier, Trump expressed appreciation that Israel has temporarily stopped the bombing in order to give the hostage release and peace deal a chance to be completed. He mentioned that Hamas must move quickly or else all bets will be off. "I will not tolerate delay, which many think will happen, or any outcome where Gaza poses a threat again. Let's get this done fast." However, the Enclave Civil Defense Agency said Israel carried out dozens of attacks on Gaza City overnight. Meanwhile, Trump's son-in-law and senior envoy were heading to Egypt on Saturday to finalize hostage release details. According to the White House official, Jared Kushner and Trump's Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff are traveling to the region to address the finalization of details on the release of hostages and to discuss the deal pushed by US President. Egypt will also host delegations from Israel and Hamas on Monday. This is according to the country's foreign ministry. Also came a statement from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who said that Israel is on the verge of a very significant achievement, hopes to announce the return of hostages held by Hamas soon. Although negotiations are not final yet, Netanyahu said in a video statement that he was hopeful that he will announce the return of all hostages, both the living and the fallen. He added that Israeli army will hold all areas that control the depth of the Gaza Strip, and that in the second phase, Hamas will be disarmed and Gaza Strip will be demilitarized. Meanwhile, global leaders continue to call for dialogue and an end to violence as attention shifts to implementing the Gaza peace plan and securing a lasting resolution through ceasefire and humanitarian access. More in this report.
Global support for Gaza peace plan surged on Saturday after Hamas announced its decision to accept parts of US proposed Gaza peace plan. Leaders from across the globe, including European Union chief to French President Macron and country heads of UK, Spain, Canada, Australia and Germany, welcomed the move as a crucial step toward lasting peace. India also voiced strong support for the Gaza peace plan, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi praised its progress. In a post on X, PM Modi wrote that we welcome President Trump's leadership as peace efforts in Gaza make decisive progress. Indications of the release of hostages mark a significant step forward. India will continue to strongly support all efforts towards a durable and just peace. Secretary General of the United Nations Antonio Guterres encouraged Hamas's recent decision, expressing support for all initiatives aimed at preventing further suffering. UN Rights Chief Volker Turk described Trump's Gaza peace plan as a vital opportunity to stop the long standing conflict once and for all. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen called for an immediate ceasefire, while French President Emmanuel Macron termed it an opportunity to make decisive progress towards peace. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, Prime Ministers of UK, Canada, and Australia echoed their commitment to end the conflict and to work towards peace and security in the region with a sustainable two-state solution. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan lauded Hamas's response and urged Israel to stop its military operations.
We welcome the response that Hamas gave to Mr. Trump's peace plan. As it has done so many times in the past, Hamas has shown it is ready for peace.
Qatar and Egypt also hailed the move, urging a ceasefire, the release of hostages, and humanitarian aid. The widespread international reaction to Hamas's announcement has sparked a wave of optimism, with leaders urging all parties to seize this rare window of opportunity to bring a definitive end to the over 2-year-long conflict. Bureau Report, DD India.
Meanwhile, anti-ICE protests emerged in the U.S. states of Chicago, Illinois, Portland and Oregon. Anger erupted in Chicago as Border Patrol agents are deployed in a show of force, part of President Trump's unprecedented move to use them in major cities instead of at U.S. borders. U.S. President Donald Trump authorized the deployment of 300 National Guard troops to Chicago. The protesters faced off with federal immigration agents after U.S. Border Patrol personnel shot an armed woman in Chicago. No law enforcement officers were seriously injured. ICE agents fired pepper spray and loaded rubber bullets as part of heated exchanges with protesters in Chicago as an effort to end the confrontation. U.S. President Trump has vowed to escalate immigration enforcement in Chicago and other Democratic strongholds that limit cooperation with federal operations. Tensions escalated to the streets of Oregon, Portland, as demonstrators clashed with law enforcement near an ICE facility. A federal judge temporarily blocked President Donald Trump from deploying 200 Oregon National Guard troops to the city of Portland, while a lawsuit challenging the move plays out. The ruling by the U.S. District Judge Karen Immigrant in Portland is a setback for Trump as he seeks to dispatch the military to cities he describes as lawless over the objections of their Democratic leaders. Portland officials say Trump administration was threatening to withhold federal funding from the city without formal notice or justification. A Democrat Portland mayor, Keith Wilson, has warned to move would siphon vital funding from economy during a government shutdown that is already hurting cities like ours, he says, across the nation. As with other states, most federal aid to Oregon helps fund healthcare, education and transportation infrastructure. In other news, a massive blast followed by a gunfire was heard in central Mogadishu on Saturday near a detention facility where Somalia's intelligence service often holds Islamist Al-Shabaab militants. Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the attack on the Kodka Jilikau detention center near Somalia's presidential palace, involving a suicide bombing and gunfire. The attack is part of a surge in violence by the Al-Qaeda-linked group, which has recaptured many areas since launching an offensive earlier this year. Despite the ongoing unrest and presence of some 10,000 African Union troops, President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud is aiming to hold Somalia's first direct elections next year. Hundreds of protesters gathered in Antananarivo, Madagascar, demanding the resignation of President Andry Rajoelina. Demonstrators marched towards police barricades in an attempt to reach the Democracy Square. Officers reject calls for negotiation and disperse the crowd with tear gas. Tensions escalated, culminating in police pursuit of protesters near the Bafaldana Maternity Hospital. Protests led by an online movement known as Gen Z Mada have tapped into widespread frustration over poor governance, with demonstrators calling for President to step down. At least 22 people have been killed, hundreds injured, according to the United Nations. A toll on the government has denied, as based on rumors or misinformation. In Georgia, the opposition staged a large demonstration on the day of municipal elections, shortly before polls closed on Saturday. Protesters tried to storm the presidential palace in Tbilisi after opposition calls for peaceful revolution against the ruling Georgian Dream Party. Riot police used pepper spray and water cannons to disperse them. The party claimed victory in all municipalities in an election boycotted by the main opposition groups. As per the Health Ministry, 21 security personnel and 6 protesters were injured during clashes in central Tbilisi. Pro-Western opposition groups have been holding protests since October last year, alleging fraud in the parliamentary election won by Georgian Dream. Meanwhile, the party denies the accusations. And we're looking at more stories. Let's talk about the Czech elections. Billionaire Andres Babis' ANO party cruised to victory in the Czech Republic's parliamentary elections on Saturday, raising the prospect of a government that would boost Europe's populist anti-immigration camp and reduce support for Ukraine. Babis rejected accusations that his win would make the Central European nation a less reliable European Union and NATO partner. ANO party members also reaffirmed their commitment to EU and NATO commitment and membership while detailing key policy priorities. With nearly all results in, ANO was set to replace the current centre-right cabinet led by Prime Minister Petr Fiala. And Fiala congratulated Babis and conceded defeat. Members of Fiala's ODS party said the election loss wasn't the end, with 99% of the voting districts counted. Spolo coalition, which the ODS is part of, came second with 23.2% of the votes. ANO party cruised to victory with 34.7% of the votes. In Malawi, Peter Mutharika was sworn in for a second term as president of the Southern African nation on Saturday. In his inaugural speech, it stated that his administration was taking over a nation facing a severe economic crisis, called on the international community to invest. He specifically addressed US President Trump, announcing plans to send a delegation to the United States to discuss Malawi's future. Mutharika also vowed to root out government corruption and rebuild an ailing economy. He won over 56% of the vote last month, defeating outgoing President Lazarus Chakwera, who received about 33% of the votes. Lithuania suspended air traffic at Vilnius airport due to hot air balloons possibly flying in its airspace. As a result, flights were diverted to neighboring countries like Latvia or Poland. European aviation has reportedly been thrown into chaos in recent weeks by drone sightings and such air incursions, including at airports in Copenhagen and Munich. The airport said the closure was expected to last until 1:30 GMT on Sunday. Travelers should check for updates on their airport's website and through airline announcements. Most incoming flights were redirected to neighboring Latvia and Poland, while departures were cancelled. One flight arriving from Copenhagen had returned to Denmark. Lithuania in August declared a 90-kilometer no-fly zone parallel to the border with Belarus in response to drones entering from there. Storm Amy caused widespread damage throughout northern parts of Britain on Saturday, bringing strong winds to Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. In Northern Ireland, footage captured the dramatic aftermath of the storm, including a large tree uprooted at Monks Hill Cemetery in Newry. Along the coastlines of Wales and Scotland, stormy seas pounded the shores, sending waves crashing over sea walls and flooding low-lying areas. Authorities issued weather warnings as wind gusts disrupted travel, downed power lines and damaged buildings. Emergency services remained on high alert, urging residents to stay indoors and avoid coastal areas as cleanup efforts began. Storm Amy is the latest in the series of extreme weather events to hit the UK this season, raising further concerns about the increasing frequency and severity of storms linked to climate change. A video shows an uprooted tree at Monks Hill Cemetery in Newry, Northern Ireland, while stormy waves were seen along the Welsh and Scottish coastlines. In northern Chile, the Atacama Desert is currently experiencing a rare natural event known as flowering desert. This phenomena occurs only in specific years when rains and temperature conditions align, triggering the germination of long dormant seeds. The resulting bloom has transformed the arid landscape into a vibrant display of color, drawing attention from both scientists and visitors worldwide. In Luxor, Egypt, the tomb of Pharaoh Amenhotep III in the Valley of Kings and Queens has been opened for public following more than 2 decades of restoration. The restoration experts from Egypt and UNESCO adhered to the cutting-edge conservation standards to preserve its murals and structural integrity. Officials hope the reopening will help revive cultural tourism and showcase Egypt's ancient heritage. In Rio de Janeiro, the NGO Rio de Paz has unveiled a poignant photo installation on Copacabana Beach featuring images of children who have fallen victim to violence. The display includes children killed in Middle East and Brazilian children struck by stray bullets during police operations. The installation, comprising 200 photographs, serves as a powerful denouncement of the violence that prematurely ends lives and steals childhood. In Mexico City, the new Museo Casa Calo, also called Casa Roja, opened in the historic Coyoacan district. The museum, a family initiative, occupies the Calo family's ancestral home and focuses on Frida Kahlo's early life, family relationships, unpublished letters, childhood sketches, and personal artifacts. Aims to show a more human and intimate side of Frida rather than her public image alone. And still to come on this edition of DT India Live. Indian students shot dead in Texas, United States. Indian diaspora unites across over 100 countries at Viksit Bharat Run 2025. And India added 3 medals to their tally on the penultimate day of World Para Athletics Championship in New Delhi. Welcome back. You're watching DT India Live. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer will make his first official visit to India on 8th and 9th October. India's Ministry of External Affairs said in a statement on Saturday that during the visit on October 9th in Mumbai, the two Prime Ministers will take stock of progress in diverse aspects of India-UK Comprehensive Strategic Partnership in line with Vision 2035. It would be focused and time-bound, 10-year roadmap of programs and initiatives in key pillars of trade and investment, technology, innovation, defense and security, climate and energy, health, education and people-to-people relations. Both leaders will engage in businesses with industry leaders and opportunities presented by India-UK Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, as a central pillar of future India-UK economic partnership. They will also exchange views on issues of regional and global importance. Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Starmer will also attend the 6th edition of Global FinTech Fest in Mumbai and deliver the keynote address. The leaders will also engage with the industry experts, policymakers and innovators. The visit will build on the momentum and substance generated during the visit of Prime Minister Modi to the UK in July this year. It will provide valuable opportunity to reaffirm the shared vision of India and the United Kingdom to build a forward-looking partnership. An Indian student from Hyderabad who went to the US for higher studies was shot dead by miscreants in Texas. The victim, Chandrasekhar Pol, was reportedly working part-time at a gas station in Denton, Texas, when the incident occurred. Expressing grief over the demise of student, Consulate General of India in Houston said, and I quote, "Deeply condole the tragic death of Mr. Chandrasekhar Pol, an Indian student from Hyderabad, who was killed in a shooting incident in Denton, Texas. We are in touch with the family and extending all possible assistance. Local authorities are investigating the incident and we are following up closely with them." Continuing the journey towards Viksit Bharat, the Viksit Bharat Run has become a platform for diaspora engagement and youth mobilization. Indian missions and posts have partnered with community groups, cultural bodies and local organizations worldwide to showcase collective efforts towards nation building. We get you some glimpses of the activities carried out in celebration of the vision of self-reliant India. Let's take a look at other stories making news today. Unique Identification Authority of India waived off all charges for mandatory biometric update for children aged 7 to 15 on Saturday, a move that is expected to benefit around 6 crore children. The waiver of MBU charges came into effect on 1st October and will remain in force for 1 year. India's government amended the National Highways fee rules on Saturday. Under the new rule, vehicles entering a fee plaza without a valid functional FASTag will be charged twice the applicable user fee for cash payment, while 1.25 times for payment via UPI. The new rules will come into effect from 15th of November. In sports, India take on Pakistan in a high-voltage clash at Women's Cricket World Cup in Colombo on Sunday. Indians are high on confidence after winning their opening match, while Pakistan lost their first match of the tournament. The two sides have met 11 times in the 50-over format, with Indian women winning on all occasions. Here's more.
Sri Lanka, the pearl of the Indian Ocean, is not just a tourist destination with scenic beauty, but it's now becoming a hub of steaming cricketing action. Colombo, the capital city, is hosting ICC Women's Cricket World Cup, which is attracting eyeballs from across the globe. And up next is the much-awaited India versus Pakistan group stage clash in the ODI format. The Indian women's team opened the tournament with a victory in its kitty against Sri Lanka at Guwahati. The match not only won hearts but also surpassed the number of attendees inside the stadium. And talking about their upcoming clash against arch rivals Pakistan, Team India has been the heavily dominant side, with the women in blue impressing in both ODIs and T20Is. The two sides have met 11 times in the 50-over format, with India winning on all occasions in a display of sheer dominance. Players like Smriti Mandhana remain the key strength, while Team India's overall lineup is a mix of experience, agility, and loads of passion.
While Smriti Mandhana is just few runs away to make it a historic 5,000 run mark at the ODI Women's Cricket World Cup, a lot is in store for Harmanpreet Kaur and Deepti as well at this Women's Cricket World Cup to make not only just victories, memories, but also new records. With free entry and an intense match on the plate, a lot is expected out of the India versus Pakistan ODI Women's Cricket World Cup clash, where India already holds the upper hand. With camera person Gaurav Giri, this is Deepika reporting for DD India from Colombo.
Meanwhile, India added 3 medals to their tally on the penultimate day of World Para-Athletics Championship in New Delhi to mark their best performance in the championship's history. Ekta Bayan produced a season-best performance of 19.80 meter throw to finish second in the women's club throw F51 finals. In the men's shot put F57, Soman Rana earned his maiden championship medal, throwing 14.69 meters to finish second, while Paris Paralympics champion Praveen Kumar took bronze in the men's high jump T64. The 3 medals on Saturday took India's overall tally to 18. That's one more than their 17 medals haul at the previous edition in Japan. That's all in this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan this QR code on your screens to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.